Yeah, I think we're actually right up there with used car salesmen.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And it's justified, I won't lie to you. There's 8,500 recruiters in this country, which is significantly less than there is just in London, so that says a lot about our capability. It's a $21 billion a year industry, but most of them can go back to selling used cars, I won't lie to you. Particularly in the last, 8 years, thereabouts, we've actually seen it increase. The reason for that's really simple, and I'm sorry for the POMs, but we stopped giving out visas to backpackers. Genuinely. I'm being 100% honest. So when I started, 12 years ago, every single person was there because they wanted a visa. None of them cared about the profession. None of them cared about the craft. One is still in recruitment. So I think that's a real big indicator. We all absolutely hated it at the time, but now it's actually proved that it's professionalised the industry, brought the quality up. And those of us that are still here are either crazy or, we're here because we love it and it's a really good industry. And I'm looking forward to the recruiters in the room absolutely tearing us to shreds at the end of it. Feel free to do it midway through. We're here for it. Just FYI.
Just the recruiters?
So guys, what is the role of an external recruiter? Like, how do you two operate?
Our role's becoming a lot more complicated these days. More of a case of, I think the easiest way to say this is clients are now coming to us for guidance. Now that's not just necessarily guidance in the job that they need to fill, but how to run their business, issues that they're coming through. I generally tell clients, you've got a job spec, great, let's have a look at it, but I'll tear it up within 2 seconds because I need to know what the hole in their business is. Because what's happening now is people's job requirements are changing, as in what they want out of employment. Like, they don't want to work in this position anymore. The weirdest thing that I'm seeing at the moment is no one wants overtime. Everyone just wants to come to 38-hour week, go home and turn off, right? So when you've got a client saying, we've got this requirement, this requirement, this requirement, this requirement, this requirement, you're going, you're not going to be able to fit that in a 38-hour week. Oh, but the person we had previously did fit that in a 38-hour week. Yeah, that's why they left. They got more money elsewhere. Oh, we only want to pay this. You're paying here, the market's here. So the role of a recruiter is more to guide the client on realistic outcomes. Like, if you're not realistic in the recruitment that you want to do, I'm really sorry to say this, your position's not going to get filled. Oh, but you have to do it. We haven't got a legal obligation to work with you. Like, we can sack clients all the time. It's like, so clients either meet us at the same level and go, hey, this is what you need. And that's generally the role of what I see the modern recruiter is. We've discussed this off the record, is like a modern recruiter has to have a media presence, has to have a video presence, has to be an expert in their field. And really, people are now coming to us for guidance. It's gone are the days of just, there's your person, no more liability, no more, people are not staying in jobs long term anymore. That's really the thing.
Anything to add, Joshy?
AI is coming for our job. In real time.
Is there energy tonight?
I know, it must be electric in here. I might actually get rid of that because I'm loud enough. So
yeah, I think
realistically, AI is coming for what we do, but what it's coming for is the transactional recruiters. It's not coming for the trusted advisors that you're talking about there. The people that sit there and say, what's your problem? You think you want this? You don't want this. You just think you do. Let's actually get you what you need to make the outcome for your business. That's un-AIable, thank God, because otherwise we're in real trouble. The transactions are done. Right? AI is going to get rid of that. So that forces, again, the industry to upskill and professionalise, or we're all gone.
So to touch on something Tavis was saying, so COVID time, it was very much a candidates market where they could pick and choose. What are you seeing now post-COVID? Has the power shifted back to the client, to the employer, or have candidates still got the power?
Markets within markets, I'd say. So certain subsects, you're always going to have that real niche ability where it's impossible to get a person, they're going to have the power. That's always going to be the case. Partners or firms like law firms and professional services firms, they can pretty much name their price. Someone will pay it. They're a bit on the nose at the moment, but they'll get paid. Again, transactional, it's gone the other way. You will work for this, otherwise we've got 4 other people to do the job. That didn't happen before, but also work from home is an issue And there's a real candidate misalignment. People think, oh, I'm going to get X. This is what it was 3 years ago. No, that's not the case anymore. So there's a real kind of come to Jesus moment for a lot of people when they come out into the market for the first time. And it's our job to kind of guide them through that and go, we know it's going to be all right.
I would say that probably getting a psychology degree would probably help. Like, it's...
What are you talking about?
People...
Josh has got a psychology.
Josh, yes. I'm a qualified hatchery technician, if anyone wanted to know that. I can grow stuff in water. Like,
Joking here.
people are now coming to recruiters for an answer. Like, I've lost count of the amount of guys that have broken up with a partner, left a job, want to change careers. Not that we are not wanting to hear this, but at the same time as well, we've got clients here, candidates here, and our job is to basically bring them to here. So compromise. Also, the other thing that we're seeing massively at the moment is unrealistic base salaries. Whew. Like, client comes and says, oh, we only want to pay this hourly rate, contract rate. I'm telling you now, you're not even close. Like, the market is here and you want to pay here. Oh, but this is what we've budgeted on the project. Pull out of the project. You're going to lose money. He goes, oh, but like, there's this whole pattern at the moment of companies being massively misaligned with what their workforce actually wants out of a job now. That has changed massively in the last 6 months. People now, it's like, whether it's justified or not, they don't care if they have bills to pay. They don't. Oh, I owe 2 months rent. I've got big. They don't care. If they don't find the job that massively aligns with their core values, they're not interested. That's why productivity is crashing at the moment.
Are you talking about the candidate doesn't care?
Yeah, candidate does not care.
Right.
Candidate does not care. Oh, I'll just go get another job elsewhere. But that is what's changing at the moment. So people say, is it coming back towards the employers? Yes and no, but at the end of the day, the employers now need to make their workforce, like their culture and also their offices, something to entice to go work for.
And come into the office.
And come into the office. Like, in my company, I give my entire office every streaming service under the sun. Everything. They have everything on the TV. Whatever they want to watch, it's there. Do they watch it? No. But if they ever wanted to watch what the Kardashians were up to, no problem. But people go, does it interrupt with the office? It's like having the radio on in the background, guys. It's like, it's about now offering opportunities to bring them back to the office, because people are saying, oh, I'll just go get a job elsewhere, or this. But you've also got to look at the cost of when that person decides, you know what, I'll just get a job elsewhere. The re-employment cost, the retraining cost, your lost productivity whilst bringing a new employee on. Now, I'm not also saying, like, lean into employees' demands at the same time as well, but there's got to be a balance. Like, it's really, that's what we're seeing, Well, that's what I'm seeing in my market at the moment. And I mainly deal with a blue-collar trade base. So, you know, for tradesmen in my field not to want overtime is insane.
Yeah. Can't get your head around it.
Cannot get my head around it.
So you mentioned something earlier about tenure, and,
Yep.
and people aren't at their jobs for life anymore.
Nope.
What's the kind of average tenure you're seeing?
In IT, it's 2.8 years.
Right.
And that's actually pretty good, right? You'll see a lot of people. There's reasons for that in my industry. Like, you'll have projects that are done, or you'll get things gone, and you go, all right, I'm done, I'm off to the next startup. Well, the startup fails, which, let's not talk about that. Particularly in recent times, or you work for Amazon and they sack 15,000 people in a week. Or one of the other ones
Jeff
that
needs
do.
a new boat.
I've heard his is quite nice. The point, I guess, is that in my sector, and it's a bit different to yours, is that you can be a little bit transient and it doesn't look negatively. I think it's really like sector by sector. I would look at a CV and go, oh yeah, that's perfectly normal. Other people would look at it and go, oh no, they've job hopped, I won't talk to them.
Yeah.
And that's up to you to make that decision depending on your market.
Yeah. Alana, are you seeing the same in the legal world?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's flip the script on that then, because you're right. Because it used to be the case where you'd look at a CV and, as a candidate, if you would flick across, you'd spend a year here, year here, year here. Oh, I'm not going to employ this person because they're not loyal. They're not going to stick around. Has that mind shift now changed? Is there a bit more? Well, why haven't they stayed? Are those kind of questions being asked?
Old school clients still ask that.
Yep.
New school that get it stopped asking it about a year ago.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
Otherwise, they never know one, yeah?
Well, Well, yes and no. So in my world, you get 600-700 applications. I can get rid of all them. I don't need that. I'll just go, all right, this person's perfect, or I've got 5 people that are all perfect, done. I'd rather not call 600 and something other people when I've got exactly what I need. And clients can get that at the moment. So in the exec world where I work, I want someone that's done 2,000 to 5,000 people, multinational, in a law firm. I'll get you 5 of them tomorrow. Not hard, all within budget. But if you want a guy that's worked on a very specific niche skill set, you're going to have to be more flexible. So it's a really weird dichotomy in that the executive market, which is slowing, it was down 7% last quarter, is actually really difficult. So the guys that are running these things are actually struggling, but getting engineers in and getting people to do the work, very different story. They've got a bit of a different way of doing things.
The other thing as well is sovereign capacity that we're talking about in Australia, which we both like. Jesus. It's weirdly that we're publicly talking about this. Privately, yeah. But
You should explain what sovereign capacity is.
so
first.
government wants sovereign capacity back in Australia. So instead of relying on, I knew you would ask this.
Local.
Come on, nobody else knows.
By the way, Dean's one of my insurance brokers. I love him to bits. Like,
Sovereign capacity is the ability for Australian resources to work in Australian industry, specifically in defence. So
Defence.
post-COVID,
Yeah, okay.
they wanted it to be 70% local resources instead of Boeing, Thales, all the big ones that you hear.
yeah.
Which is difficult because there's not enough passports around.
Make Australia great again, basically.
Listen, we promised John we wouldn't discuss politics.
It's okay there.
Please don't bait it. We'll be here all night. Sovereign capacity is something that they're really pushing hard in the defence space, which will feed through to every sector in Australia. Every sector in Australia will be affected by sovereign capacity.
Yeah.
The issue with sovereign capacity at the moment is we literally don't have the workforce to build what they want to build in Australia. Now, that's all well and good. We can have migration and all that sort of stuff, but also people, the biggest issue that I am seeing at the moment, and I believe you're seeing, is this thing about productivity is crashing at the moment. And that is something we really need to work on in Australia. So the biggest shift I'm seeing at the moment, people are just becoming lazier and they don't care. They just don't care. It's like, whatever. Like, I'm not going to go to work today. Okay, fine, whatever. Like, my cat's sick. Okay, great. No problem. I send my condolences. Like,
Serious illness. It was a serious illness. Don't be
oh man, we actually, a true story, and I actually had to go take the office for a drink when this happened. A guy called in sick because he ate too much ice cream the night before.
Oh my God.
I'm like, sorry, what? He said, he got tummy thing, he just ate too much ice cream the night before.
I did that for John if he ever called up.
So I feel your pain. I saw you had some fuel issues with your tank.
Sovereign capacity.
Yeah, sovereign capacity. Yeah, absolutely. But like, what I'm seeing at the moment is I am a massive. I mean, so Josh is as well. But technology is here to make our lives all better. I'm not anti-AI. I'm pro-AI. We use AI to rewrite job ads. We're using AI for marketing. I'm starting to use AI for podcast scripts, and it's about embracing new technologies out there. What I'm seeing in the recruitment space at the moment, and in a lot of client space, no one knows what the next 6 months, 12 months is going to hold. So we're just making the best decision with the information I have today. When COVID hit, I went back to my 2008 GFC plan, which was to double down on marketing and cut all expenses. It was the right move. In this market of slowing economy, slowing productivity, entitlement, the thing is why I'm very good friends with Emma, is like, marketing is something that is it's starting. Recruitment is now kind of gone of I need to use a recruitment consultant because they have all the database. On my database, what have I got? 110, 120,000 candidates. That's all through AI, social media, Seek. But what I see moving forward is clients really having to redesign their whole companies to incorporate a new style of workforce. That's the biggest shift that I see. Bit of work from home, bit of work from the office. Having to almost make your office like, I don't know, like that really cool bar, that really cool getaway, that Airbnb, because you need to entice people into the office. They won't come otherwise.
It's a culture shift.
It's a culture shift.
There's an old versus new type
But
mentality.
are we talking, because I mean the Googles, the Salesforces, the LinkedIns, they kind of spearheaded this, restrooms and chefs and, bars in the office and that. But if people aren't coming in, that obviously wasn't enough to keep people there. And I guess as your workforce gets older and they perhaps have families and children and partners, they don't want to spend 12, 14 hours in the office.
No, I totally agree with you. It's more of a case though that you need to give the option. So you need to have that kick-ass office set up, but at the same time as well, you also need to have the systems, procedures in place. I supply a blue-collar workforce. It's very hard for a boilermaker to work from home. Or a mechanical fitter, or a diesel mechanic. Those sort of positions will think, but my office, you've seen my office, it very rarely gets used to its full capacity anymore because a lot of people work from home. So I'm now moving to a smaller office, same sort of level of fit out, but I'm sick, it doesn't get used, and there is that shift. I also feel that what you expect out of your workforce is lower. Like you're gonna get that maverick salesperson. You get that person who just wants to be at the office and work, and that's great. But that's becoming less and less. You're gonna have to work smarter with people that don't want to work as hard anymore because they just don't care. I mean, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but
Yeah, that took a really dark turn. Thanks for that.
that's what I do, man.
Always me.
That's why he's wearing black.
Are people seeing that in their workforce? Are people struggling to get kind of people back to the office?
Hasn't that always been the issue, engagement-wise? Hasn't that always been?
Yeah.
But it's the cycle, right? It's like if you're working in a startup, suddenly you're like, oh, I don't have to work all the time in the office. That's actually a selling point. And that's a good thing because startups need something different than Amazon, LinkedIn, Google, etc. Because they'll pay you stupid amounts of money. And I actually think that's a positive thing to start seeing this change because otherwise you're not going to get that differentiator.
Correct.
When everyone was working fully from home or fully remotely, why would you want to work for company X paying you Y when you can work for big company A paying you double? So you actually need it. It's a bit of a competitive edge, I think.
So if you're an applicant in today's market, how are you standing out to potential employers?
Ask the branding guy. Yeah, thanks. I think the biggest thing is actually being someone that we can see, right? Like if you've got 700 people responding, be real. Like video intros, I barely get them, but I love them. I will guarantee you, if you send me a video intro, I will call you. Even if you're shit, I'll call you. Truly, because it's a point of differentiation. I'll do everything I can to then refer you on to someone that can help you. The worst thing that's ever happened to LinkedIn is an easy apply button. It's useless. Get rid of it. Doesn't exist. Don't even look at them. One click, done.
What's that when you say that? Yes.
LinkedIn easy apply button is the worst thing to ever happen. Yeah. Come on, and give you a bit back. Come on. I asked it for earlier. No, I think that the anonymity of sending a CV and hoping for the best, you're going to get the results. And then people complain, recruiters don't call me back. You didn't even call us.
Exactly. I was about to say there's a really low barrier of entry. Just fucking call us. Yeah. Like you will be shocked. Less than 10% of applicants actually call.
Yeah.
Do you find though that the majority of the next generation coming through don't like using the phone?
Correct.
They'll text and they'll email.
Yeah.
But you try and get them to pick up the phone, it's almost impossible.
You should just FaceTime them, see what happens.
No, they freak out. They call it abusive.
Random FaceTime.
They're busy.
There you go. Maybe that's the next product. We'll put random FaceTime in the CRM, see what happens. God knows what you'd see in your market.
And all the stuff we're talking about, as in people don't want to work as hard and they don't want to work from home, is this all age groups or is this just young people?
It's in general. I'm seeing it everywhere. Funny enough, I just brought this up on a podcast a little while ago. What we're now seeing as well is that high-end trades that have been in the game for 20 years, they've got their house paid off. They've got their beach house paid off for. They've got a fleet of cars. They don't want to work full-time anymore. Like, they've got money in the bank. So there is no need to work as hard anymore. So what they're seeing, they're setting the example, and then the younger generation is copying it. Problem is they ain't got the money in the bank and they don't care, and that's what I'm seeing. Like, I know of, there's two trades that I could place within 30 seconds of finding, and one's an auto electrician, the other one's a diesel mechanic. Within 30 seconds, done. Like, wouldn't even have to send the CVs because I've got the reputation, right? We just don't have enough of them. And people go, but we're moving to EVs. I can tell you right now that whole market, we're trying to get lithium out of the ground, it's going to get bigger and bigger. So what I kind of see happening is companies, all types of companies, having to redesign exactly how they do their work.
So let's flip the script on that. So what do employers need to do? Parched.
I'm a bit parched as well, actually.
Tough gig.
Oh, yeah.
Need to do to attract. So if applicants are now becoming inherently lazy, let's just kind of
Not my word, but you know.
yeah,
thank you.
Tavis's.
Cheers.
What's your word, sir?
What do employers need to do to attract people? Where are they hanging out? Where are they going to get that maverick, that right person?
They need to automate. They need to automate as much as possible, as quickly as possible.
What part do you want to automate?
Everything. Onboarding,
There
legal.
won't be any jobs.
Yeah, but that's bullshit. I've been so well behaved, and I'm trying not to swear, but like,
Sworn twice, I'm counting.
employers need to understand what product they're actually wanting to bring to the market, and is that product in 5 years viable?
Yeah, EVP is a wonderful thing. What is your value proposition? What makes you different to the company next door? Why are you going to be an employer that they want to work with as opposed to the next one, right? This is a really good example. You've got 3 of the big 4 within 20 metres. They're no different to each other, just stupid different badges on it. I'm sorry for anyone that works there, but it's true. The big recruitment agencies are all the same, so don't worry. The importance is actually figuring out what makes someone want to work for any business, right? And not going, oh, we're great, so you want to work with us. That's what most companies come to. They'll go, here's our list of benefits, and we're lucky, we see a lot of them. So I go, yeah, they've got that. Oh, gym on site, free parking. Okay, and what? And what? It's about actually figuring out what makes Dean special and crafting something for Dean. He's special. But going, all right, well, how are we actually going to take you on a journey? That's what people want to hear. They want personalisation. Automation is fantastic and it's important, but
they
it's
also
about
want
personalisation.
they want a purpose.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. Like they want a purpose, but they don't want it. They don't want to work that hard for it. Like they want the purpose. They want that, but you know, I had a recruiter of 3 years leave me because she wanted to manage people, and I sat there. It was a private conversation, and probably the feedback I got from the rest of the staff was don't you dare let her manage anyone in the company. It's because the idea that she wanted to manage someone, but she wasn't a leader. But it's like, well, I wanted the job title. I'm like, okay.
Sometimes people need to go.
Yeah.
You can only take people so far sometimes. And that's a tough thing to look at as a business and go, well, there's a ceiling.
But people are more interested in job titles than actual hard work.
Okay, so as a candidate, it's getting back to basics.
Yep. Cool.
It's picking up the phone.
Differentiation.
Which we've realised that a lot of the younger generation don't want to do, but it's getting back to basics. And as an employer, it's getting back to why are we hiring for this role? What is the purpose? And what does that look like?
And not either side not going, good enough. Because that's not a recipe for success.
Yeah.
Like, we've interviewed 8 people, good enough. No, that's not good. I've actually said to someone recently, do not hire that person. And the founder of the company went, what do you mean? I said, no. If you're going to give them a trial, it's a no. Just don't do it. Because in 2 weeks' time, you're going to come back to me and go, that person was shit. And I'll say, yeah, no, I told you so. It happened. It was 2 weeks ago. It did happen. It happened today. Knowing that your value is important and knowing that your time is important, people just want to get things filled. Recruitment's a horrible thing to do if it's not something you love to do, right? It's an unfortunate necessity that most companies need to do. But if you don't give it the love and attention it needs, it can be really detrimental. If you give it the love and attention it needs, it can be your absolute competitive advantage. That's what makes an absolute great company. Look at all the best ones we've talked about today. They have horrible recruitment processes, 6, 7, 8 interviews, but people do it because they're amazing employees.
The culture is what key. And you got to build your culture.
And so as an employer, so what I've taken from you guys is that it's a changing market at the moment. There's a shift in what we saw. How do you, as an employer, take advantage of that? Because it doesn't sound like the pool is as big.
The pool is massive, but the talent's not. That's the problem, right?
Is anyone else finding this in big business? Yeah.
You could interview 100 people and walk away going, that was absolutely terrible. And think that everyone's terrible and productivity is going down. He's not wrong, it is. But if you're only interviewing that portion of people actively applying, you're only going to get a subset of the market.
So, I'll give you an example. I just literally got someone who's been working on and off with for about 6 or 7 years, needs a job. Texted the line manager, had an interview, hasn't seen the CV. The guy's starting Monday, right? Just on my thing. What employers can do is they need to work with, and we're not feathering our own nests here, is work with recruiters, but also work with marketers, work with insurers, because they will do the selling for that business. As in, Emma goes, I'm working with this company, they're really good, they're looking for someone. Oh, great, I know someone. Dean goes, I work with XYZ, blah, 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 great culture. If you're looking for a job, give them a call. As a business owner, the best thing that you can do is make your culture as great and as positive as possible, and change your mindset from what can they do for me, what can I do for them?
Yep.
And once you get that culture in, people will be lined up around the block to work for that company. And that's why they have the 6-7 interview process, because I'm assuming you're talking about LinkedIn?
Amazon,
Amazon,
Google,
yeah.
etc.
Yeah. I've known people that go on a 6-month recruitment drive just to try to get into LinkedIn, to work for them because of their culture. Took us 6 months to get in there, and it was an entry-level job. And those sort of things. So the thing is, what employers can do is really work out what product am I bringing to the market, what culture can I do to increase that. Because even in engineering companies, we've got companies at the moment that we look at, and they come to us and go, oh, we've just got this revolving door of trades. And then I talk to my trade base, I won't work for that guy, the supervisor's a wanker. Like just small stuff like that, but people goes, oh, I'll just, they don't understand that, but they think that they've got this sort of magnetic pull to bring people in, but people start talking and it doesn't take long, and really, you need to be, as a company owner, the thing that you should be absolutely fucking petrified as is Google reviews. Even if you get a bad review, how do you resolve that? How have you replied back to the market on that? People will judge you for that. If you get a shit review, I've got a couple in my company, I've replied back, I always offer them to call me on the office. This is me, this is who I am, give me a call. People are looking at that. Like, that is the biggest thing that a company can do. And like, we work with a lot of companies, right? And I'll give you a little trade secret. Companies that will try to negotiate hard on fees with us, contractor or perm, yeah, we'll let it do it, but they won't get the best candidates. We'll just send that to who actually want to work with us. And then from there, we'll send that out. But the issue is a company wanting to change their culture is possible. But culture is the biggest thing, and I go on it time and time again. If your culture's shit, you'll be out of business sooner rather than later.
But is it more important now?
Hold on a sec, sir.
I think so.
You're going to make it run around.
Oh, Pamela gets whatever she wants. Like, Pam wants to talk to me, she talks to me now. Sorry, we've got to stop for a second. Pamela wants to have a chat. Yes?
What I'd like to do is sort of flip the script a little bit and talk about empowering the owners of a business, a small business.
Yes.
Particularly, because a lot of us in here are running small businesses. And I understand that we need to be aware of what employees want.
Yeah.
My role as a business owner is to also set the boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of noise out there that employees want this, that, and the other. And I think that's great to have all of that. But ultimately, it's your business. And ultimately, you're in control of that. And I'm going to go back to the point of culture is really important. Having a healthy and cohesive culture. And it really does start from the top. And it's not something that you can say, I've got a healthy culture. It's got to be seen.
Oh, absolutely.
So we run a legal practice, and our legal practice has never had a work from home policy. Never. And it's so cohesive. We've had the same team members for 3.5, 4 years now.
Yep.
But what we do instead is we offer self-care days, where we say once a month or whatever it is, that day is yours for your self-care. And we do not want you to do a single thing other than look after yourself. We also have really decent hours of work, right? So we're really mindful of respecting each and every one of our team members. So the power needs to come back to founders and owners of their business, because quite frankly, who protects us? Because it's very, very easy to have, sometimes you can have employees who become bullies.
Oh, absolutely.
It really concerns me that there's no voice, really, for a small business owner.
Apparently, if there were more people like you in the world, we would have less problems. Like, plain and simple. I know you very well. But if we had more clients like Pamela, oh my God, it would be like, we're going to have to use it? Like,
I'm
it's...
very, very caring, compassionate.
I know, but it's not the norm.
But I am tired of being,
Oh, I get.
I'm not having that. I'm not. And I run my business for 15 years now.
I totally get
I
that.
mean, Amazon is saying to people, you're working from the office now.
Correct, but they can do that.
Yeah.
There's no more work from home.
I thought there was a trend now with all the big companies that take them back into the
I
office.
think-
I thought they were saying, no, you've got to come back.
So they can reduce their headcount without looking like bad guys. That's it. Amazon bring everyone in, and then 3 weeks later, 15,000 people made redundant. They're not doing that for fun. In general, people are going, you have to come back into this expensive office, and if you don't like it, well, we'll deal with that. Big companies can afford to do that, but little companies, every person's important, right? Every single person is important, and you'll appreciate this, but there's a saying I have, and it applies to a lot of things. Some will, some won't, so what, right? Stop trying to be everything to everyone. People either understand who you are and what you're about, or they don't. And as soon as you stop wanting that person to fit in and actually going, yes, this person immediately you'll tell the difference. You interview 10 people and that one person, you'll walk out going, that is the person, day one.
To your point, getting people to really want the job, not just turn up for one interview. We have a 3-stage process, and one of them involves actually doing an oral exchange, an oral conversation. How do they engage with a potential client? And the other one's written.
Yeah.
Right, and then they get on a final assessment. Does the team like them? So it's not just come on in. It's not like that because as a small business owner, the cost of losing staff. Let's talk about the reality of that.
It's expensive.
It's a hell of a lot of money to try and recoup that money. So it takes a whole year to recoup the loss.
Sometimes
And then
more.
you're
Sometimes
paying
more, yeah.
fees as well. I'm not going to go into anybody except that you guys are amazing. I'm not saying that.
Please have a go.
Not all
at
of
us.
us.
Please, we're begging you.
We need to factor this in. I think really empower ourselves and be really mindful of what we're doing here. Small business is the heartbeat of this country. It really is. And yet we hardly give it any attention. No, it's going on.
No,
you're
you've got
right.
the floor. Hey,
I'm talking to the room here.
And it goes back to Tavis's point about why is the employer having someone? What's the reason for it? And if you've got that nailed down, then you're going to be attracted to right.
So, there's a couple of things changing in the industry for recruiters. I mean, I'm a contract recruiter, Josh is a perm recruiter, but we both play in contract and perm market. Big thing that started a couple of years ago was perm recruitment fees broken up over 12 months. Or 6 months, or
6
3
months,
months.
yeah.
I've seen a couple of 12s actually. But
Madness.
Where we'll work with the client more as a partnership, find their staff, and instead of doing a 25 grand fee for whatever, we'll break that 25 grand fee over 6 months. And as long as that person stays, and how the guarantee works is we'll honour as that person's there. But if they don't pay us on time, we don't have to honour the guarantee. But we're also very conscious of cost as well. The biggest thing that we've seen in the recruitment industry, our insurance rates have gone through the roof.
Sorry.
It's your fault. Yeah.
It's your fucking fault. I was actually Dean's first client, but that's another story for another day. And we're very conscious of cost. The problem is recruitment is a highly cost business. Like, you have no idea the amount of money that it costs to run a recruitment company. So yes, we have high fees, but at the same time as well, the clients that work with us will work with them and make sure that they've got the right people in place. But once you've got that people in place, your business is beautiful. Like, you are the exception to a lot of people in your industry. I think you run a really, really great practice in both inherent and the legal practice, but it's because you look after your staff and you actually care. A lot of client companies out there don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They don't care. It's like, they are here to serve me. Those guys will be out of business in the next 5 years because candidates will not stand for it anymore, regardless of what bills they have to pay. What do you have to add to this, sir?
Our system is broken. Again, AI earlier, the way that it is broken is really simple. You don't want to spend time recruiting, right? So you will do as much as you can, as quick as you can to get it done. And what you'll do, you go and speak to 4 people and someone will win that race.
Here's a quick question. Sorry, when I was in corporate, if you were interviewing someone new, and you had, let's say it was at 1 o'clock, when would you read the CV?
Yeah.
5 to 1. Would you read the CV? Just to your point, if you don't take it seriously, then you
Completely.
spend more time doing it.
Yeah, and also, you work with agencies that are no win, no fee lawyers, right? Like, that's what I say to my team back when we used to have a larger team would be, we're not that way inclined. Pay us up front and you'll get a better service. Like, the numbers back it up. Like, most of my work is retained. You pay me for my time, you get all of it. Otherwise, I'm sitting there trying to fight 3 other people. Why would I put any effort into that, right? Ultimately, you're getting a worse result out of me because I'm worried about time, so I'll just throw a bunch of CVs and hope for the best. I won't, but our industry does. And ultimately, you're going to go, all right, brilliant, I've got 8 CVs, I'm making progress. No, they're all crap. Or maybe you get one lucky. But if you take the time, invest in the relationship, the reward is exponential. But that's a whole other issue. We could go into like much deeper recruitment issues and again, 8,800 of us, we could probably get rid of at least 6,500.
Oh, absolutely.
Were there any other questions for the panel?
So is there hope?
Apart from Dean.
Not for you. Not for you.
Hello, sir.
I just wanted to finish it on a positive light.
Why do you have to finish with you?
I tell you
Everything's
what,
about
if you ever want a fun thing, just get in a text group with Dean.
Yeah, when they reply to me and you don't pretend they're on the phone.
Dino, question.
Yeah.
So,
Hurry up.
all joking aside, there's obviously massive cultural shifts. There's obviously differentiations between different sectors, so blue collar workers as opposed to IT and white collar workers. But I think generally there's definitely a generational shift happening, right? The new ones coming through, they want it easier, and they're coming up against bosses like me that are not millennials, and I'm going, no, you'll be in the office, mate. And they're like, well, my mate doesn't work in the office. I said, no, you need to be in the office because it's a professional organisation. You need to be there. So there's this sort of, it's going to come to a loggerheads, and I think
It's there.
there's going to be certain industries that are going to win, and certain industries won't. But where's the hope? How do we? I know you've gone through a lot of it, but give me some hope for the next generation.
This is a moment in time, and by that I mean you're dealing with post-COVID, which is one issue.
Yeah.
You're talking to. I had a phone taped to my hand when I started in recruitment, and that was normal, right? Like literally.
He was on the phone when I walked up to him this
You
afternoon.
didn't get a chair unless you'd done a certain amount of work. I love that, but if I do that to someone now, I'm going to like workplace industrial relations issues, and that's cultural change. But also, I think gig economy, things like that, has really changed the way that people engage with work. So I'm going to go be an Uber driver. Cool. All right. If that's a choice you can make, awesome. What it means is you just have to sift through more crap, unfortunately.
Yeah, I once had wasn't one of the candidates, one of the forklift drivers, literally turned around to one of the recruiters about a month ago and said, I only drive Toyota forklifts. They've got Crown, I'm not interested.
I have to drive Ford Mustangs.
But it's just, like, people in perception is changing, but
Yeah.
and that's the big thing you need to take away. Adapt to the new economy, like the new environment. That's, if you want to take something away from there, be more adaptive to what's going on. People are more interested in your computer platform, what the office culture is, what hours I need to be in the office,
What's in it for me?
What's in it for me, exactly.
Yeah.
One more question, sorry.
Oh no.
I know, right? I do
Hey,
a lot
man.
of career coaching for candidates, so could be something for you guys, but also for any other recruiters and business owners in the room. Aside from picking up the phone and calling, which I think is fantastic, what are the traits or the attributes that you're actually wanting to hear from candidates, probably irrespective of industry? What is it you're wanting to hear more of as business owners?
They give a fuck.
But how do you tell that? Do you know the hardest two things to recruit at the same time, because they all look exactly the same? Graduates and executives. I've done X and I've been really good at it. True, right? Because it's hard to kind of differentiate. Graduates, I did X, I went to school, I did that, I worked at Domino's. Awesome. Executives, I've been awesome for 10 years, I've also been awesome for 10 years. How do you actually figure out who that person is? That's the hardest part. So I don't read cover letters, I don't know if you do.
No.
I haven't for many years, but if I'm looking at something in the real junior or executive market, that's the only time you'll even get me close to them, because it differentiates who that person is. Traits, initiative, which is kind of what we both said earlier, right? We want people to pick up the phone, send a message. They don't even have to pick up the phone, right? That's how low the bar is these days. Send a really well-worded email, something about yourself, point of differentiation, prove to me you've looked at who I am. That'd be a really good start. not dear hiring manager, and with the wrong company name in the email. Like fundamentals, 101, 1%ers, the top
It's not
10%
hard.
excel.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's the barrier to entry is not that hard to get in front of a recruiter. The recruiters, though, are so used to dealing with just sheer crap volume that when you get someone who actually makes a phone call or sends you a LinkedIn email, holy shit. Okay. Okay.
Immediately 1%.
We've got one more question. Rahul. You've had one, and you had your mouth full.
Whack.
How do we deal with the skill shortage? Because there are certain industries there's really big skill shortage.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Honestly, it's about being adaptive to the people that are in front of you. Like, okay, you need X, Y, Z, but this person has A, B, C. If the person has A, B, C, can they actually do X, Y, Z? Like, when I look for trainees, I always look for people that have had interesting jobs. So one of my best recruiters was ex-flight attendant. Another one was ex-fleet manager for car yards. Another one was a CA for a construction company. You're not looking so much for skill set these days. I would look for culture fit. I can train someone to speak on the phone, send an email, how to be in front of a client. I cannot teach. If you're a prick of a person, I cannot change that. I would say more, but I promised I'd be really well behaved today. So that's how I would deal with the skill shortage is you're looking for X, Y, Z, but you've only got the people that are presented to you. Change the way that you do your business so you can actually find people to adapt to what you need done. That's how I would deal with the skill. I would be more fluid with the way that you structure your business and find people to match that than to try to build a rigid business structure and find people to work to that.